Night and just arrived in Toronto, and he already gave a talk this afternoon at York University. He'll talk this evening, then he'll give another talk at York University tomorrow. So he's been on the go a great deal already. I'm Greg Albo with Socialist Project in York University. There's some publications over there if you're interested in looking at them. We've been hosting a number of talks over the last year or so, dealing with various questions of regroupment on the left and some of the questions about the emergence of a new left. We're very lucky to have with us today Boris Kagarlitsky from the Russian Academy of Sciences, who is one of the leading intellectuals in Russia, particularly on the left and labor in Russia. I started reading Boris's work, as probably many of us did, in English in the early 1980s, trying to understand the opening that was occurring there under Gorbachev, etc. Boris, of course, was one of the main intellectuals writing on Russia and interpreting it for us outside of Russia. How his work received inside Russia could be a different question at times. Subsequently, of course, he's been a major figure writing on both not globalization, of course, his book on globalization, and a range of other books on globalization as a key figure in writing on the anti-globalization movement and penetrating. And then he's also been critical to understanding what's occurred post the old Soviet Union. On the Yeltsin years, he wrote a very important book on Yeltsin and Putin, and is now his most recent book, which he hasn't kind of hit the streets yet. Is it still just coming out? Empire of the Periphery.
It just came out. Just like 2 months ago, I guess, in London.
So he's particularly speaking on a range of ideas and interpretation of Russia based on that book. Today he'll speak on the left and labor in Russia under Putin. Welcome, Boris.
Well, okay, I hope I will learn more about how Canadian left is reshaping itself. And from what I've learned already for like 5 minutes talking to Leo, it seems that there are some very interesting similarities which you will probably find in my talk. But anyhow, let's start just with one minor correction. You mentioned the Academy of Sciences. I'm not with the Academy of Sciences anymore. Why? Because they downscaled. So our institute is...
The Institute for Comparative Studies has moved out.
The Institute for Comparative Political Studies is no more there. I mean, just, they decided there were too many academic institutes. There's just one institute less. Okay? So I'm with the Institute for Globalization and Social Movements, which is an NGO or a kind of think tank which we created ourselves. So we're just doing it for ourselves. We're self-organized and self-financing and self-helping, surviving institute. And by the way, if anybody is interested in following what's going on in Russia, there is an English mirror, an English version of our website. So the website, I just give you the website address, which is www.aglob.info. And if you just open it, actually the design is pretty terrible, but anyhow, you just get on the left. You just get it's very easy. You can switch it into English. So then you get it in the English version, and there you can probably get some material on the labor movement and on the left and on political and social struggles in Russia. Not on a daily basis. We just cannot get new material every day, but on the weekly basis in English. Of course, in Russian it's on the daily basis, but in English we just have like 1 or 2 new pieces every week, so you can follow what's going on, more or less. Of course, it is not always adequate to give the picture, but in a way, the very existence of this site is quite telling, because I think if you take a situation like 5 years ago, there wouldn't have been enough material to give you news which are relevant for a left-wing international audience, say, more often than once a month. Now, we have at least 2 pieces of news which are worth being translated every week. So it just gives you the idea of the situation changing. But this is only something which we consider to be the really important things, which we have to translate. Because also the funds are limited, the resources, so in that sense we cannot have a proper system of translation and so on. So it means if you take a Russian website, there is at least one protest or event happening every day, usually 2 or 3 of them. Of course, I'm speaking about Russia, and Russia is a huge country, but still. It's completely different compared to what was the situation, say, 5 to 10 years ago. Okay, but let's go into history. So when the Soviet Union collapsed and capitalism was restored in the former Soviet Union, the general mood on the left was not that pessimistic, because quite a lot of leftists, both those of Stalinist origin and those who belong to the new left, thought that, okay, capitalism is coming, but resistance would also come. So if there is capitalism, there will be working class struggle, and there will be a fight back, and so okay, that was not going to be that dramatic in that respect. In fact, many saw the collapse of the Soviet Union, at least the new left, saw the collapse of the Soviet Union as just the beginning of the genuine, authentic, real left-wing movement, which could be released from Stalinism and so on. On the other hand, the Stalinists saw the Soviet man as being shaped by the Soviet experience and thus incapable of adjusting to capitalism and kind of doomed to resist Stalinism because of the Soviet experience. And it didn't happen this way in practice. So what was wrong with these theories? And let's be honest, what was wrong with our own view? Because to a certain extent I shared some of these views myself. So in that sense, it's not, I'm just saying now, well, okay, how stupid we were, but I was one of these stupid people myself. You know.
All of us around the world.
Yeah. So, there were a few factors. First, of course, there was this heritage of Stalinism or the Soviet system. Actually, I prefer not to call it socialism, but whatever system it was not a capitalist system. Okay, so theoretically, the legacy of this system made people reluctant to accept certain aspects of capitalism. But in fact, it also made people extremely excited about capitalism. And of course, people had a very idealistic idea of capitalism. I just remember talking to a group of workers from Taliatigrad, from Taliati automobile factory. And also, there were also miners there, by the way, who shared the same view. And they were advocating shock therapy, saying we have to have mass redundancies and just we need mass unemployment, and all these people who are doing nothing, they must get unemployed, and that will make our economy really developing. And I said, and what about you? Are you sure you're not going to be redundant yourself? I said, oh, we're producing cars. Everybody needs cars. Of course, we will keep working. Everybody else has to be fired, but us, no, we'll stay at work.